Hello, I am Eddie Sanders, and I approve this message. I am a junior English major here at Savannah State University.
I met Eddie when he was a freshman. He was in the Freshman Living Learning Center, and I was in the computer lab, and we just started talking, started asking me a ton of questions about being a junior and how does it feel, and I was just giving him some advice on what things that he should not do and some things that he should do.
How I met Eddie, we had a class, intro to African American history. One of the things that I noticed about Eddie, he was really outspoken in the class. He spoke his mind, and the unique thing is that when he spoke his mind, it wasn't nothing ignorant.
I met Eddie in English class. He introduced himself as Obama's cousin to me, which was very ironic.
All right, first time I met Eddie was my freshman year. I was running for freshman class president. Eddie showed a great interest in my campaign. I didn't know why at the time, but it kind of paid off in the end, even though I didn't win. We became friends for like the last 3 years. He's like a brother to me.
Eddie and I are actually from the Middle Georgia area, but it was not until freshman year where me and Eddie first met. We both lived in the FLIC, which is the Freshman Living Learning Center, and we had a mutual friend, which was Raven, and when I first met Eddie, his first impression was him just making jokes, and he's very humorous.
The first time I met Eddie was in Ms. King's office. He was talking to Ms. King about some concerns he had about the school and about some of the things that were going on around the campus. And I had similar questions, so immediately we had common ground.
One day I was cooking for my friends, and Eddie just popped up in my house. I was like, who is this random guy just popped in my house? I'm cooking chicken and fries and all this stuff. But that's how I met Eddie. Eddie's really, really cool. I love him.
I met Eddie. I think the year was 2000, and I think it was my sophomore year, and I believe it was his freshman year, so about 2 years ago. And he introduced himself. You know, we're in the same writing club, same major, English major, and he's a really cool guy. And he said, you know, like, Mojo, you seem very cool, really down to earth brother. Eddie loves the word brother.
I met Eddie his sophomore year. He was going out to be a student orientation leader. First thing I noticed about Eddie is a good person. Eddie's very passionate about what he does. I've never had a problem with Eddie. Eddie has always been that person that was willing to put in a helping hand, willing to put forth the extra mile to get the job done.
The first time I met Eddie, I had got in trouble by the school. Y'all know how Savannah State be, man. They always trying to kick people out of school. I only had one person to vouch for me. His name was Eddie.
I do not know exactly when I met Eddie because I have been knowing Eddie almost all of my life. We actually attended all the same schools, so he's kind of inevitable. I had no choice but to get to know him and to love him.
I'm running on the platform of ready for charge, ready for challenge, ready for change.
One word to describe Eddie, man, trustworthy. I'm gonna say trustworthy, man, because when I was in trouble, man, and didn't nobody have my back, he did. And I really appreciate him for that.
One word to describe Eddie, I would say passionate. He is very passionate about everything that he does, whether it's helping someone out or just being a mentor to someone. He is very passionate in everything that he does.
My one word to describe Eddie would be eccentric. He may be usual or odd, but he definitely, I feel like that's something that's needed for our campus so that we can progress in the future.
One word to describe Eddie would be opinionated, because Eddie has an opinion about everything, whether good or bad, but it just shows that he's interested.
One word to describe Eddie would be ambitious, because whatever Eddie puts his mind to, he's gonna accomplish it.
One word I could say describes Eddie would be, let me think of a good one. I think the biggest thing I like about Eddie is just his charisma. He's very charismatic.
One word to describe him? That's not even possible because there are so many words that you could use to describe him. For say, passionate, he's charismatic, he's very humble.
One word to describe Eddie would be passionate, because when he speaks of his concerns, like, he puts emphasis on every word and not just certain words, and you can just hear the passion in his voice, and he means what he says.
Why I think that Eddie should be the next Chief Justice, for that one word, passionate. I have seen him grown since he's been a freshman, so I believe that he would do a great job as Chief Justice, really voicing his opinion and really having a concern about the students.
Eddie has the best intentions for this position because he sees it more than just a title. He sees beyond the title and takes the issues and tries to work for a solution that's better than what probably is already in place.
I believe that Eddie would be great for this position because I know that Eddie is not just about words. Eddie will take those words and give his all to see a change happen.
The reason why I think Eddie is wonderful for this position is because everything that this position requires, Eddie has already been doing.
The reason why I think Eddie should get this Chief Justice position is that because I think he is ready. I think he feels that he can make a change in the school system or in our system as a student body, and I believe he can do it.
I think Eddie's perfect for his position because any great leader that we had in history has been ambitious, and their ambition has led them to greatness.
He's the best candidate for Chief Justice because he's humble, he's trustworthy, and he's dependable. And I mean, who else you want in the office? You know, why wouldn't you want that guy in the office?
I think that he is best fitting for this position because he and I actually worked together as class officers in high school. He was class president and I was the secretary, so I'm very familiar with his work ethic. And Eddie knows exactly what it's like, and he knows exactly how to work hard and to just fight for that change that he wants to see and to get whatever needs to be done.
One of the things that I noticed about Eddie, he was really outspoken in the class. He spoke his mind, and the unique thing is that when he spoke his mind, it wasn't nothing ignorant. So it was a great experience. He also let me know that he was really aware about what was going on in the community.
Question number 1. What is the most difficult thing you have ever had to do? Wow, I was hoping I wouldn't have to answer this question. But the most difficult thing that I've ever had to do actually was forgive my father. I'm not gonna cry, y'all. But my father wasn't there when I was growing up, and I didn't understand exactly why. But as time progressed and I got older and I became more mature, I understood how hating him was only holding me back in life. So to better myself, I had to forgive him. And it also had a lot to do with my faith in God and my belief in forgiveness. God forgave me, so I could forgive my dad, you know? So I forgave him. Explain your platform. Why Ready Eddie? Okay, first of all, Ready Eddie. Ready Eddie is actually not something new for me. My name was Eddie. Number 1, I hated my name growing up until I actually found out that I'm actually named after my grandfather. But that's the other story. But people would always rhyme it with the word ready, and they would always say, Ready Eddie? Or when it was time to do something in class, they would always say, Ready Eddie, come on, Ready Eddie. So they'd always say that. And so when I was trying to come up with my platform for my campaign, I was actually speaking with someone from back home. His name is Ahmad Thorpe. Shout out to Ahmad. And I laid out what it is that I wanted to say and the message that I wanted to portray. And Ahmad pretty much just put it together, and he just said, what about Ready Eddie? And it went from there. So there you have it, Ready Eddie, in a nutshell. Who are your biggest inspirations? Besides my mom, my biggest inspirations would have to be my grandfather, the late Superintendent Joe Reynolds. My grandfather was a pastor for nearly 40 years until his death. The fact that my grandfather continued to fight until the very end, he always fought. When even on his deathbed, he fought. And he wanted to make sure that his family was taken care of and that his family never fell apart. And also my mentor, my collegiate mentor, Jarvis Thomas. Jarvis is one of my biggest inspirations. When everyone else said that I was too loud or too rambunctious or just too much, Jarvis saw something in me and he took me under his wings, and he started off as my mentor, but now he's like my big brother. Why the office of Chief Justice? I'm assuming that this question is asking me why did I choose Chief Justice over President or Vice President. I chose the office of Chief Justice because I believe that if ran correctly, the office of Chief Justice is the most interactive position on the executive board. It's the most interactive position with the student body. I witnessed my mentor as Chief Justice my freshman year. I'm sorry, it was actually my sophomore year. He ran for it my freshman year. He was it my sophomore year. I also witnessed the current Chief Justice. And by witnessing those two young men, I noticed that they're the most interactive position on the e-board. And I realized that in order to fulfill that position successfully, you have to, first of all, be humble. And I believe that I'm very humble. You know what? I'm going to be honest. I know that I'm very humble. I also believe that you have to be passionate about fighting for the student body. Not fighting for what you believe is right, but what the consensus, what the majority believe is right. I also chose Chief Justice because I am a very quote-unquote black and white type guy. Once it is in paper, that is what we will follow, and that is what I will make sure is being followed.
Hello, I'm Monica McClure.
My name is Amin Ra.
I'm Whitney Jackson.
I'm Mojo.
I'm Raven.
My name is Darius James.
I'm Liz.
My name is Chris Singleton.
I'm Tony Jordan. I'm ready for charge.
I'm ready for charge.
I'm ready for charge.
For challenge.
Challenge.
For challenge.
Challenge.
For change.
For change.
For change.
I'm ready.
I'm ready.
I'm ready.
Are you ready?
Are you ready?
Are you ready for Eddie?
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 Hello, I am Eddie Sanders, and I approve this message.